In this video, we're going to discuss why belief in the supernatural poisons decision making and how it can lead to poor outcomes. The way we view reality determines the decisions we make every day. Every detail we learn about the world around us shapes our understanding and provides a foundation of knowledge from which we can make decisions to best achieve our desired outcomes. However, sometimes we get it wrong and we realize all too late that some of the knowledge was false. Luckily, we are able to make corrections to this foundation of knowledge. So if we figure out where we went wrong, we can then make adjustments to our knowledge and hopefully make better decisions in the future. But what happens if the ground this foundation is based on is no good to begin with? This structure of knowledge forces us to have a hierarchy of ideas from which we construct our decision-making process. If our core concepts of reality, which sit at the heart of this foundation, are false, it directly impacts how we approach the decisions we make and also how we interpret the results of those decisions. So let's explore how supernatural beliefs can have a tremendous effect on this system.
Supernatural claims are those which cannot be independently verified, as they deal with phenomena which are beyond physical measure, and if they could be measured, would simply be considered natural phenomena. When a person with strong belief in the supernatural is presented with information, they must consolidate this information with their current foundation of knowledge. If that knowledge allows for the acceptance of external information without independent verification, hence it is supernatural in nature, then they must be forced to sincerely consider the validity of that information or be placed in a logical paradox. So what does all this really mean? A person who accepts the supernatural as their core foundation is unable to distinguish whether other supernatural claims are true or not, as independent verification is not part of their belief-forming process. What this results in is a lot of special pleading, claiming that their beliefs are correct for poor reasons and other people's supernatural beliefs are wrong for equally poor reasons. Or a double standard occurs where verifiable information is required for other people's supernatural beliefs, but not their own. So let's compare this to a naturalistic or evidence-based perspective.
If a person with empirically naturalistic beliefs is presented with a similar scenario, they too must consolidate the new information with their current foundation of knowledge. However, verification for the accuracy of that information must be independently verified with physical measures. This is because the core beliefs at the center of that foundation are based on independently verifiable models. This means that the naturalist adjusts his or her foundation of knowledge to coincide with the physical evidence as it is presented. So which approach is a more efficient way to decipher what is true? If you start from false conclusions and don't base changes to core beliefs on measurable evidence, you are unable to effectively adjust the foundation of knowledge from which the decision process begins. Because this foundation is built around acceptance of unverifiable evidence, you are unable to remodel your current foundation accurately because all the information presented must be considered under the same level of scrutiny. If not, then it becomes difficult to logically justify the starting premise when presented with contradicting information and at the same time reject the new information. If we can't adjust our foundation, then we are likely to make incorrect decisions as they are all based from incorrect starting points. Watch this clip of a Christian debating a Muslim about which one of their religions is correct. Pay special attention to the quality of the arguments.
So we have God's perfect attributes being retained in Christianity. We have a message that fits with all of the evidence that we have, a message about someone dying on the cross for sins, rising from the dead, and claiming to be divine. All of our early evidence fits with this position. And think about it, according to Christianity, God had a mission for Jesus. God was completely victorious. Jesus came into the world, completed his mission perfectly. Jesus was completely victorious. He chose followers who would carry this message fearlessly. They were completely victorious. They went to their bloody deaths and would not back down. That's the message of Christianity. God is victorious from beginning to end. God is glorified from beginning to end. And then our Muslim friends tell us, but there's the alternative. Jesus didn't die by crucifixion. Allah tricked people into believing it. That's where that view arose. But the Apostle Paul came along later and corrupted other parts. So it wasn't Allah corrupting it by himself. He had a partner in crime. He's had the Apostle Paul also deceiving. Actually, that's not much better. Because think about the implication there. God sends Jesus into the world. Jesus spends all these years, and according to Islam, Jesus started preaching at birth. So he started preaching for 30 years. And then Allah comes down, tricks Jesus' followers into believing that he died by crucifixion, and then just can't protect his message from the Apostle Paul. God sends Jesus into this world. The work doesn't get done. Jesus doesn't accomplish anything that lasts. Muhammad has to come along 6 centuries later to fix the mess created by Allah and the Apostle Paul. And you put all of this together, what happened in the first century? Nothing. You ended up with the largest false religion due to Allah's deception and the Apostle Paul's deception. And God wasn't victorious. His followers couldn't protect the message from the Apostle Paul or Allah. This is the alternative. This is the alternative where we have one view that glorifies God. He's victorious from beginning to end. We have another that portrays Allah, God as a deceiver, and Jesus as a miserable failure. Even if we had no evidence on the table, even if we had no evidence to support either view, we'd have to choose the Christian view just in light of the theology involved. And when we add to the fact that every shred of evidence we have tells us Jesus claimed to be divine, that he died on the cross for sins, and that he rose from the dead, and so we have all of the evidence confirming Christianity, I don't think we have any reasonable choice than to conclude that the message of Jesus Christ is found in the documents of the New Testament. That is the only way to be faithful to God, is to believe in the message that has been preserved right now.
This video is an example of how an argument is developed from supernatural belief structures. In place of verifiable evidence, the Christian speaker David Wood attempts to justify his belief that the Bible is true by discussing the character of God in both the New Testament and the Quran, stating that the God of the Bible is moral and just, whereas the God of the Quran is deceptive and fallible. Note his criticisms don't focus on inconsistencies in evidence, rather the inconsistencies of the story and how each story characterizes God. Wood is also able to reference the Bible as evidence without fear of it being immediately rejected, as the book is unable to be independently verified, and his opponent can't demand the same standard of evidence as his own book, the Quran, wouldn't qualify as evidence either. We have linked the entire debate in the description and would advise you watch the whole thing or at least the closing statements. The debate would be considerably different if both speakers adhered to a standard that all evidence has to be independently verifiable, as the debate would revolve around determining the validity and meaning of evidence in relation to each side, and the character of God would be completely irrelevant.
The significant difference between a supernatural and naturalistic belief structure is relative to the standard of evidence for determining what is a part of reality. Understandably, this has a significant impact on someone's ability to approach the world with a consistent outlook to determining what is true and making decisions based on that truth. The thought processes that lead to belief in the supernatural do not allow for efficient changes in a person's foundation of knowledge, which is necessary to achieve accurate results in reality. Hence, adopting said methods for determining truth will lead to an incorrect perspective of reality and poor decision making. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and you'll get weekly videos in return. Also, like this video and share it around to help us raise the bar of public discourse.